Okay, welcome back, kit builders. This is step 10, and it's going to be the final step where we put the muffler and the handlebar on this. I've anchored the gasket with some Durco for my convenience. And we're going to use 3 different size screws. I think the top 2 are like 5x8. The 2 that go into the cylinder are 5x16. And the one I'm pointing at there is a 6x20. MS660. It's the larger one. 5x16. There I was pointing. There's the little one. Goes in the top. And you see I've already got the heat shield there. Now, frequently things will be off slightly, and it's best not to tighten the screws. Well, if you tighten the screws, make note of how they line up with your other holes before you go trekking to the next step. A lot of times I had to loosen the screws, start the 6x20s, and screw those in just to kind of get it to fit, and then I would screw in the 5x16s and then remove the 6x20s and put the cover on and put the 6x20s back in and the little short ones. This time it didn't require anything, but sometimes. And that's how you do it. You just sort of fit it. It fits. I always like to point out that I got that little driver from Huztl. I don't know what they sell for now. Last year they were $1, and that the tip of it has just been so tough. I mean, I have tightened many T27s with it, and it's good as new. It's not catching. I'll have it up there right. And as you can see, that's why I fitted the gasket to the muffler, because while you're messing with it, that gasket's flopping around, and it's not a good idea. You can tell my stuff's not highly edited. What I've done is I've give up, and I'm going to turn the saw. I'm going to put it in my lap. I have it turned up so that gravity can work in my favor with those screws. because trying to include you on it is making it harder than it needs to be. No offense. So I've just got the handle down between my legs, and the screws are falling right in place, no problem. You know, it's broad daylight, and I use a bunch of batteries and flashlights. There we go. Checking the fitment, making sure that the holes are centered on those. The width of that header tape is perfect. You can see it jutting out from underneath the muffler there. Give it a good coverage. Dual port. That's what I'm pointing to. Okay, those are the fatties. Again, I'm hand started. You know, as you use your saw, it's a great idea from time to time to check the bolts on your muffler to make sure they don't come loose, and that's whether it's a steel or one you built. I'll lay that screwdriver, the driver there, the end of it on the magnet I use to hold my screws as I coat them with the Loctite, and it helps me whenever I'm putting screws on. It'll hold them. It's not naturally magnetized or from them, but it does magnetize, and it does help it. final touch on it, make sure it's just the right. Alright, ta-da. That's done. Now that's the West Coast cover, and there's the Huztl part number. And the dogs that came with the kit fit right on it, as well as the chain catcher there. That makes the saw even fatter. Kind of cool looking. So you can noodle to your heart's content with that. Those are the differences, the main differences between the normal cover. What you see right there is what I'll pressure test it with, showing you how fat it is. Now I've already done a pressure test video, so I'm not going to beat that dog, and going to put on the handle now. There's the part number if you want to order a wrap handle. It's a good one. And I put that on there. You'll find it on the IPL for the rescue saw. Hold your wrench. And the 4 plastiform screws, was included in it. The wrestling match is soon to begin. That's a pretty nice saw I built. I might take that cylinder off and put a nikasil on it. as you can tell, that, I mean, it requires quite a bit to line that up. It would be helpful if you had three hands. I believe I'm getting one of the plastiform screws in on the side. Getting it started will hold it in place. Now here I'm putting on the wrap handle, and it was pretty much like wrestling a bear. I got that one screw in to hold it, and then I went to the other side, which is on the bottom. You can't see it, of course, but it did not want to move far enough back to fall down into the space for the handle. Just didn't want to do it. It was off like 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch or something. So again, I wrestled it until I got that left hand tip down inside the case. And again, that's a really well made case because I was brutal with it. I took a wood block and a huge screwdriver and put enough leverage on it to pull it back. And then I just had to figure out how to get it to lay down in there long enough to get the screws tightened, which I certainly eventually did. But the whole thing took 15-20 minutes. I saved you all the pain. There's the bear paw. Leaning on the fat pig. I didn't mar anything. Stuff's quality, it's not delicate. Now we're going to go slappy. And that's what it took to get it. Once I got it pulled back far enough to coax it downward. There we go. So that was a combination of a screwdriver that was about 4 pounds in a wood block and everything I could give it. But I got this screws set. The threads are made. So if I have to remove it, God forbid, the threads are there for me. And when I get these screws tightened, this will conclude the MS660, build kit update, because I put the muffler on, the carburetor, and of course the handle is the last thing. The handle that comes on it wouldn't have required this much effort. But of course I wanted something different. Making sure I got this screws all the way down, because it's now or never. I'm going to set this saw aside and begin the go back to the 070 build kit, because it's complete. You see there, I'm getting ready to do a pressure test on it, and I've already made a video on that, so I didn't shoot that dog again. You can go back and see an MS660 get a pressure test. And I'm giving you the all sides view. Ta-da. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. It was meant to be.